The following video chronicles the final day of Gannon Stauch's life, as well as his gruesome murder. The content is tragic and disturbing, and it may not be suitable for everybody. The purpose of this series is to take advantage of a unique opportunity to study the behavior of a manipulative personality. The recorded pretext calls, the recorded jail calls, the text, and the timeline presented at trial paint a picture of Letecia's manipulation. A picture worth studying to reveal and to understand the red flags, so perhaps the next Gannon can be saved. Manipulation is abuse. If you or someone you know are in an abusive relationship, the time to leave is now. There are resources available. The National Domestic Abuse Hotline is 1-800-799-7233, or visit the link in the description to learn more about the warning signs of abuse and relationships. Or email Alice at Gemini Crime Online if you need to talk or help finding local resources. And now we begin the murder of Gannon Stauch, Part 4, the day of and the murder. I want you to imagine for a moment that you are 11 years old again, lying in your bed. What sort of things were you afraid of? Were they fantastical? Vampires drinking your blood, or ghosts whispering in the darkness? Or did you suffer from the classic phobias, afraid of spiders and snakes or confined spaces? Whatever it may have been that Gannon Stauch feared late at night in the darkness, he could not have known the danger he was in that evening, or that the greatest threat to him came disguised as somebody meant to protect him. Gannon slept as a monster began to plan his demise. According to Lena and Harley's testimonies, once Harley arrived home from work, Letecia acted normally. They watched TV together on the couch. Lena was sent to bed. At some point, Harley went to bed in her mother's bedroom upstairs rather than in the basement she shared with Gannon. Letecia's dark, twisted mind created a dark, twisted plan. Whatever the truth is about the candle incident, however it had happened or why, it was either a breaking point or an explosion. Situations, scenarios, arguments, emotions, past, present, and future. For Letecia Stauch, everything in her life aligned in such a way, creating the perfect storm that elevated her from toxic and manipulative to dangerous. First, she needed to plant seeds in her husband's mind about his beloved son, seeds to grow later, and breadcrumbs for police to find as well. Before she could make the kind, tender-hearted little boy disappear, she needed to transform him into a bad kid. A bad kid that people would not sympathize with or search for as thoroughly. And, just in case that didn't work, she began a narrative that blamed the innocent child for his own disappearance. The modern-day boogeyman, the internet. Albert was mindful of his children's use of technology, setting limits for them and monitoring what they were interested in. The social media platform TikTok had been featured on the news, and it was controversial in 2020. Letecia knew her husband well, and she began sending texts to him, setting her dark plan into motion. After the candle incident, Letecia cut a square of carpet, approximately 2 foot by 2 foot, and removed it. She claimed she did this because Gannon was so upset and he was worried about being in trouble. She claims that her intention was to replace the ruined section and fix it before Albert found out. Examining the timing of her actions, little truth can be assigned to this claim, because less than 2 hours after the video was made about Gannon's burns, she texted Albert and she told him the entire story. 11:30 p.m., she texted Albert. Gannon was on the toilet most of the night, upstairs and downstairs. He had a candle on earlier tonight because he kept smelling poop from his accidents in his pants. That's what he told us afterwards. And he went for his headphones and dropped it, catching the covers and couch, small spot, on fire. I got Lena and the dogs outside when we heard the fire alarm, but once I got down there to get him, I had to throw another cover on it. It was minimal, no need to call for help or anything, because nothing too bad. He was upset and wrote on the note he is sorry. He didn't want me to tell you because he is scared and freaking out about getting in trouble and being grounded. It's stuff we can fix and everyone is okay. I burnt my arm a little, but it's all good. He was more scared and embarrassed. Letecia did Google, "My son burned the carpet, how do I fix it?" But she did so at 12:09 p.m. after texting Albert. At 1:03, she Googled, "Son sick, can he stay home?" And at 12:42 a.m., once again, searched Orlando, Florida, Craigslist, jobs, apartments, for sale, services, community, and events. That search is possibly the most tragic. For a moment, it seems that her mind was back to daydreaming or planning to leave and to just start over. If only she had. Only Letecia will ever know why she chose instead to continue with her dark plan. 6 minutes later, at 2:48 a.m., she texted Albert. He is in bathroom again and blood coming out butthole, and he's crying about going to school tomorrow like this. And he's still upset about the candle accident. I told him it's fine, and as long as he's okay, not to worry. Having created an excuse for Gannon to miss school, she needed one for herself as well. At 3 a.m., she texted her boss at Mountain Ridge Middle School, a place that she had only worked at a few days, and told her, "Sorry for the time of night message, but my stepfather passed away. Someone hit him with a car while he was walking. I can update you at a later time." Crying face emoji. After getting no response, she resends the same message an hour and a half later. 4:36 a.m., she texts Albert. "I'm just going to give them an excuse at work and stay with him. I don't think he should be here alone. We haven't really slept, and we haven't heard from you by phone since you left Saturday night." Al finally responds, "OMG, is he okay? I texted him too." Letecia, "He just laid down again. I just left from down there with him." Albert, "Okay." Letecia, "I love you and miss you." Al responds, "I too." Letecia continues, "I'm exhausted. He was so pitiful and freaking out about fixing the carpet, but told him to worry about his stomach. I can't sleep because I have coughed nonstop from that smoke." She then sent the same picture of the candle she had sent to Harley earlier. At 5:49 a.m., Leslie Hicks, her boss, responded, "Oh my goodness, Tisha, I'm so sorry. Shall we try to find a sub for you today?" Letecia was busy doing something during this hour, as she did not respond until 7:21 a.m. And she was not sleeping. Harley testified that she woke up in her mother's bed alone that morning. Harley texted her mother at 7:20 a.m. Are you here? She could not find Letecia while she woke and got ready for work. 7:21 a.m. Letecia texts Leslie Hicks. Question mark, question mark. It's a parent. All my family lives in the East Coast. I'm trying to find a way to get there. 7:32. Leslie Hicks. Okay. I'm just trying to understand your plans so that we can find coverage. Am I understanding that you will not be in today? Letecia. Yes, it's my parent. I can't believe that would not be an assumption in a time like this. Leslie Hicks. I'm so sorry for your loss, and we will support you, but I cannot make assumptions. I do need some direction from you. We will get a sub today. Please let us know what else you need moving forward. Remember, Special Agent Jonathan Grusing specifically asked Letecia about calling into work that day. She claimed in the interview that she had told work on Thursday she would not be in, and also told Grusing the excuse was regarding her stepmother's death rather than her stepfather. Lying about when the decision was made for her to miss work that day shows that Letecia knew there was guilt associated with that decision. She now had it arranged for her to be alone with Gannon that day. She got Lena ready and off for school, and Harley left for work. 8:09, Letecia texts Albert, I keep calling you back. Albert, in class now, I'll call on break. Letecia, okay, it's where he burnt the floor. Al, burnt? Letecia, he said he was playing his games and wasn't supposed to and thought someone was coming. Al, what? Letecia, yes, and I sent it to you last night and you said OMG. I explained everything. Al, I was so out of it from not sleeping. Letecia resends the text about the candle incident. Letecia, he told me this morning he was playing his game and didn't want to get caught and had to fix the carpet. He said he accidentally knocked it over and couldn't put it out. When I got there, I threw the covers on it and jumped on it. Al, OMG. Letecia, that's the sofa. Carpet, I had to cut and add a piece. He was freaking out and crying and saying he was going to be grounded for a year. Cut off some with scissors too, and you can't tell. She then sends a picture of the sofa. At 8:14 a.m., Letecia takes this picture of Gannon sleeping. She takes two pictures, one at a slightly different angle, and sends it to Albert. The bedding seen in this photo will be found with his body. Some believe this photo to have been taken as a sort of proof of life picture, showing Gannon asleep in his bed, his Nintendo Switch by his hand. After sending the picture, she texts Al at 8:18 a.m. He is sleeping now. He said his stomach was really bad. Plus, he was upset about what he did. I told him you weren't going to ground him for a year, and that's replaceable. 8:30 a.m. Harley clocks in at her job at Massage Envy. Although a picture had just been taken showing Gannon asleep, Al gets a text from Gannon's phone. The text says that he wants to go play with a friend, that this friend has an older brother with a car, and he said he could come over and play if he brings some bath salts. Bath salts were another issue that media featured prior to 2020. Horrifying stories of people ingesting bath salts and becoming real-life zombies, attacking people and eating their faces. Anytime a common, easily accessible item can be misused and dangerous, parents worry as trends and social media challenges move through schools. Perhaps this is why Letecia chose bath salts. Something typically safe turned dangerous by peer pressure, knowing the articles he would see when Albert searched online. She hoped to cause the right level of concern from Albert. Texting about heroin or meth to his own father was ridiculous. But bath salts? It would signal to Al that Gannon had friends that were up to no good, and also eventually to police, who would see Gannon as curious and willing to try dangerous new things. 9:05, Letecia texts Harley a picture of the dog. 9:21, she continues to text Albert about Gannon. He was watching Tok Tok, hiding it before you left, and I saw him looking at something where people throw quarters in the air and catch them. I told him about my brother Dakota. He did that years ago and got lodged and no air, and my mom rushed him to the hospital. I was wondering why he was saying strange things out of character, but I blocked the switch from Wi-Fi and Amazon because he was asking Alexa about it. That's why we went hiking, because I told them no technology all day. Al: okay, yeah, we are going to have to keep a close eye, 'cause Lena was watching it and started crying the other day. 9:27, Letecia takes a screenshot of the bath salt conversation and sends it to Harley with the text, OMG, something isn't right. And once again, the timeline shows Letecia's deceit when she sends a text at 9:54 a.m. that reads, "Left phone at home. Call G's on my watch. It may stay connected and we will monitor it." Although neighbors' security cameras show her leave the house 8 minutes later at 10:12 a.m. Between 10:12 a.m. and 2:20 p.m. Monday, January 27th, Letecia and Gannon were riding around in Albert's red Frontier truck. Just like the candle story, the events of this outing change each time Letecia tells it. A few things are known for sure. She really did leave her phone at home that day. According to Harley, as well as Kevin Clark, who examined her phone usage, this was out of character for Letecia. Even this video so far shows frequent, almost constant use of her phone. The phone continued to receive calls and messages, but there was no outgoing activity on the phone during this time, and tower data confirms its location at the house. It's a logical assumption that Letecia left her phone at home that day and drove Albert's truck rather than her new leased Tiguan to avoid GPS tracking her that day. And it worked to a degree. There are times during this outing that are unknown exactly where she went. What is known from financial records and security footage is that they left the home at 10:12 a.m., went through the drive-thru at Dunkin' Donuts, put gas in the truck at a 7-Eleven, and then went to Petco. Letecia is seen entering the store alone at 11:11. In fact, Gannon is not seen at all during the entire outing. Letecia claims he was lying down in the truck playing his Nintendo Switch the entire time. Her behavior while inside Petco is odd. She walks to the dog clothing section and picks out a few outfits. She then walks to the front of the store, sets the merchandise down, and walks outside. She re-enters the store 1 minute later, returns to the clothing section, and then once again She goes to the front of the store, looks out the doors into the parking lot, and then goes to the register, pays, and leaves at 11:21 a.m. She returns to Petco at 1:15, goes directly to the dog clothes, pays, and leaves for the final time at 1:21. Each time Letecia tells the story of this day, she is very detailed about visiting Petco, possibly because it was an important part of her plan to make it seem like an ordinary day, running errands. The opposite of something sinister. She was buying adorable, silly, cute clothing for her adorable, cute, cuddly puppies. By the time Letecia was officially telling the story, she had already been made aware of a neighbor's security camera's footage that recorded her driveway as well. Perhaps anticipating what video may reveal, she included a detail to her story that is disturbing in retrospect. She tells Albert that she took with her 2 bags of softball equipment that day. In fact, the Easton brand bag that she described was located in the garage later. She claims that she took the softball equipment with her, planning to visit the sporting goods store Play It Again Sports to see about an exchange for hockey skates for Gannon or Lena, but that she ran out of time and never visited the store. During the 2-hour gap between Petco visits, Letecia claimed she was driving in a rural area, an S-curve that will be important later, lost for a bit after making a wrong turn. Her reasons for this rural visit are different in each story, but knowing that Letecia was planning and in the action of making Gannon disappear that day, and also that she violently attacked and murdered him as soon as they returned home, it is disturbing to imagine why she took a softball bat with her that day, what her original plan was, or why it changed. Perhaps she intended to drive to a secluded area, kill Gannon, and leave his body somewhere. Maybe the reality of that dark plan was less practical out in the daylight, and she decided that she needed privacy to truly unmask the monster she had hidden for so long. At 1:02, Gannon's phone texted Harley, "You okay? I miss you." Harley responded, "Yes, miss you too," at 1:24 p.m. Albert had received a text from Gannon's phone as well, asking permission to play a game named Zelda on his Nintendo. The timing of that text later proves it was Letecia pretending to be Gannon, as it was sent from the phone while inside Petco, and Gannon never entered the store. At 2:20 p.m., video shows the truck backing into the garage. Letecia was surely rushing and panicked, as she had less than an hour before Lena arrived home from school. Authorities believe that it was during this short window, arriving home at 2:20 and Lena getting home from school at 3:15, that Letecia murdered Gannon. 17 hours had passed since the video of Gannon crying, worried about his burns. Although the video showing Letecia and Gannon leaving home that day is blurry and grainy from the distance away, slowed and carefully examined frame by frame, social media, as well as law enforcement, came to the conclusion that Gannon appeared lethargic and having trouble walking. Gannon walks slowly, stops by the open rear driver's side door, and stops. He drops something, but doesn't react. It is Letecia that bends over to retrieve the dropped item before Gannon gets into the back seat. The medical examiner found the prescription opiate hydrocodone in his system, having been ingested within 12 hours of his death. I, personally, think Letecia gave him a large dose to quiet and sedate him after he was burned, quote, more than he should have been, and Letecia kept Gannon in this drugged condition while she figured out how to get rid of him. I believe she went to Petco for an alibi, to get on camera, as well as to use her American Express for the $34.58 charge. But while in the store, she worried that a sedated, confused Gannon may exit the vehicle in the parking lot and be seen by someone, explaining why she kept walking to the front and looking to the parking lot. And eventually, she was running out of time. Lena and Harley would be home soon, and no one could see either Gannon incoherent or the wounds caused by the fire. There was debate and confusion about whether Gannon returned to the home that day. The video seems to only show Letecia exit the vehicle. Frame by frame and close examination shows a shadow briefly on the side of the truck away from the camera. All that is seen of Gannon arriving home that day. What Letecia did to Gannon is difficult to comprehend. His autopsy reveals an extremely violent attack. He suffered 18 stab wounds, wounds that included defensive wounds to his fingers and hands as he tried to shield himself from a woman who claimed to love him. Stabbed while he lay in his bed. She also struck him several times with a heavy object to his head, causing 4 devastating skull fractures. For whatever reason, Letecia then retrieved a gun from the home. Not her Tiffany blue handgun. She chose Albert's Smith & Wesson and used it to kill his little boy. She shot him in the face, the bullet entering his jaw, shattering his vertebrae and lodging behind his ear. She fired 3 times in total. The other 2 bullets were recovered from his pillow. Crime scene technicians later would reveal a bloody crime scene. The head of Gannon's bed was in the corner of 2 walls. Blood was splattered several feet in every direction and pooled and soaked into the carpet underneath Gannon's bed. The clock was ticking. The girls would be home soon, so Letecia began cleaning to conceal the crime. She wiped down the walls, but later, a luminol-type chemical called Blue Star revealed where the blood had been. Each of these stickers represent a bloodstain that was found later in spite of her cleaning efforts. She used these brushes to scrub the blood from the carpet. They were later found in the dishwasher, with carpet fibers still stuck in the bristles and Gannon's blood still present, although she ran it through a cycle of the dishwasher. In the basement, in addition to Harley and Gannon's bedrooms, was a room that was used for storage. The storage room shared a wall with Gannon's. Letecia retrieved a large olive green suitcase that Albert had acquired from Landon during their marriage. The suitcase was only used when the family moved due to its large size and a broken wheel. Letecia placed Gannon inside with his blanket and pillow, zipped the suitcase, and hid it in the storage room under boxes and tubs. Lena got home from school at 3:15, and video shows her loitering outside. Letecia asked her to check the mail and to play outside. While Letecia was busy cleaning Gannon's blood from the walls and carpet, Albert was in training in Oklahoma, unaware of the nightmare occurring in his home. Between 3:30 and 4, he casually texted his wife about purchasing a pair of headphones. At 4:15, Harley clocked out at work. 4:19 texted her mother, "Just got off," to which Tisha responds, "Yay." Harley arrived home at 4:37 p.m. Harley testified that it was unusual to find Lena outside playing because the kids followed a routine of eating a snack and doing homework when they got home from school. She asked where Gannon was, and her mother told her he was at a friend's house, but he was supposed to be home at a certain time because for dinner they were going to a restaurant to eat sushi. Letecia told her that she had researched online how to clean the carpet from the fire the night before, and she asked her to take Lena, go to the dollar store for some items that she needed. Harley leaves with Lena approximately 15 minutes after she arrived home. Letecia texted Harley at 4:52 the items to buy for her. Carpet powders, 2 things, baking soda, and trash bags. A receipt from Dollar Tree at 5:14 show Harley purchased the cleaning supplies, in addition to lotion and ponytail holders for herself and bubble gum for Lena. At 5:34, Albert texted Letecia, "Have kids FaceTime," but of course he did not get a reply. 574 miles from home, Albert had finished his first day of training at Fort Sill, and he wanted to see and to speak to his children. It was a normal day for Albert Stauch. He would have no way of knowing how much his life was about to change. That when the clock reached 6 p.m., a line would form, as it does for everyone who experiences trauma, dividing between the before and the after. For now, only Letecia knew about the darkness she had brought into the Stauch home. At 6 o'clock, the next phase in her plan would be set into motion. Like Gannon, Albert had no idea that the greatest threat to his precious family was the woman who had vowed to love and to care for him. Since Alaska, he had learned that Letecia wore several masks, that she manipulated scenarios and people to get her way. He had seen ugly masks, faking pregnancies and burglaries, lying about sexual harassment and racial discrimination, but none of these masks had been violent. He could not have imagined the monster hiding beneath them all. A monster who had just burned, drugged, beaten, stabbed, and shot his adored little boy and stuffed his body into a suitcase for disposal. At 6 o'clock, Letecia readied and donned a new mask, prepared herself for a grand performance, the worried, loving mother of a missing child. Give me all the attention that I deserve. Feel sorry for me. In part 5, we will see that this mask crumbled quickly under scrutiny, and within 24 hours, Albert, as well as law enforcement, began to see glimpses of the real Letecia Stauch. Again, if you recognize any of this manipulative behavior in your life, please take action to protect yourself. Your life is important. You are important, and you deserve better. Thank you for watching. Next in the series is The Murder of Gannon Stauch, Part 5, The Missing Child.